Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Decoupaging with Michelle. So tonight I just have, I'm just going to do 4 jars and I thought I would hop on and just make a quick video. This shouldn't take too awfully long. I have my Mod Podge ready. I'm going to use the gloss, that's just what I have. I'm actually going to be doing 4 quart-sized jars. And I have 5 different designs. One jar is going to have 2 designs. So one jar is going to have these sugar skulls, one on each side. They turned out really cool. I just printed these on my tissue paper and then soft edged around it with my water pencil. And then I'm going to do some Nightmare Before Christmas. Again, I just printed these off and I print them on tissue paper. And we go from there. So I'm going to take my jar. And I'm going to actually do it on the side that doesn't have the versus ball mason jar. I'm going to do it on the other side. It looks like it has like some grapes and fruit. And these are pretty simple. These don't take very long. I think the most time that you spend is really just trying to make sure it's centered on here nicely. You don't want a crooked Nightmare Before Christmas. I think that looks fabulous. I think I'm going to pull it up just a scotch here. Okay, I think that looks great. And then again, I do my Mod Podge. I'm going to pull up half that napkin, put Mod Podge on my brush. Not a lot. You can see there's not a whole lot there. And I'm just going to put this on my jar. Make sure there's no gloopity gloops. And just, there's nothing, it's not too wet, it's just going to be tacky. I just want it to be tacky enough so that the tissue paper adheres to it. So I'm going to go sideways here to make sure that stays straight. And I'm just going to, sometimes when these are square, they're a little challenging. I'm just going to apply some pressure on these, and then this goes on pretty nicely. Alright, I got something on my brush there. And I'm going to flip this over and do the exact same thing. Pull this up a little bit, put on the Mod Podge, and do these. So these jars are these 3 jars are custom orders that someone had requested. And so just thought I would make a quick video on making them. It's fall, and in the Midwest where I'm from, the weather's changing. It's getting cold. It's pretty chilly. Sorry to pick myself up. It's pretty chilly today. And probably the 60s, but it was beautiful and it was sunny, so it was beautiful. Okay, and then we're gonna get my plastic wrap and just rub in those edges really nicely, and any creases that you might have. So I have some creases here at the bottom because it's a straight edge going around a curved jar, and I had some up there. So I'm going to rub that in, and I'll pull this off gently, and those creases nicely disappear. So that looks fantastic, you guys. So that's one. We're going to move on to the second one here. Now, this one is going to be a little more challenging. I have to be a little more careful with it. When I printed it, I just used my inkjet, my ink printer. Sorry, my laser, but I do my tissue paper, and there's a crease when it printed out, and you can see that black line through there. So I'm going to try to not pull this tight so I can kind of still hide that. I'll actually go through and touch that up once this dries. So I'm just going to put this on here. I'll lower that. I think that looks pretty straight, and I'm going to do this side first, a little bit of Mod Podge. Now, sorry guys, my camera turned off, so Didn't get some of the jars. Apologize for that one. So I was going to show you, I did finish this one. So I just want to finish, I did that one. Has a little bit of a line. I'll touch that up with some paint or some markers once that dries. This was the other one. This had the same issue with the line that was going through it right here, but I can touch that out. That won't be a problem. But this turned out so cute. Isn't that adorable? So, and again, these are just quart-sized jars, and this is, I do these all in wide mouths. So I have one more jar here, and I thought it was worthy of hopping on here and doing these. So these are these sugar skulls, which are such cute designs. The person who I'm making these for couldn't decide between these two, so I just said I will do them on both sides for you. So I think this will work. So again, same size, quart size, wide mouth. This is the I was talking about it being on white paper and using the linen white paint. I do soft edging around that, so there's no straight lines. What happens is this edging blends in really nicely with this paint, so it makes it look very smooth. So I want to make sure these are aligned up and down correctly. And really, you just want to take your time with this, because once you get it lined up, it's pretty easy. I think I'm going to scoot it down just a little bit. Oops, sorry, I have the window open tonight because it's so nice out, breezy, and I don't live too far from a railroad track, so you probably heard the train go off. We love the railroad tracks, the railroad system. So, okay, I think that looks pretty good, you guys. So I'm going to hold that with this hand, flip it over about halfway. Sometimes I try to go a little further than halfway, but you don't want to go too far past halfway. So again, I'm going to just put this on, get everything wet, tacky, no globs. If you have globs on there, just keep rubbing it in, and eventually they just get absorbed by the brush and they get rubbed in a little bit more. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to flip this over. Again, I'm just going to kind of do that like that. And then as I go around this, just notice I just kind of curve back and forth. And that's just me working, make sure there's no wrinkles as I do this. And do these edges really nicely here. Look at that. That looks fantastic. Now the tissue paper has a little bit of gloss to it, which are, when we use napkins, they don't. But the gloss does, but that's okay. It still works. Once it dries, some of that shine goes away. And then, of course, once you do your final top coat, your protectant sealant, all that blends in really nicely. So, gotta trust the process and work your way through it. So, pull that over here a little bit, and again just going to go back and forth on this, and then I'm applying a little bit of pressure to this, so I really want this to stick. I think I use more pressure when I do this process when I use the tissue paper than I do the napkins, because the napkins tear far easier than the tissue paper does. So that's on there. I'm going to get my plastic wrap and put this on here. Now I just want to rub. I have a little bit of a crease in the white there, so I'm going to really rub that in. And go around the edges, make sure the edges are sealed in really nicely. And the edges. And then when I pull this off, what I should see are no creases and wrinkles. So that looks pretty good. Right, now I'm going to lay this plastic down here. I did flip it over because I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to put that so it doesn't stick. And this is the other skull. Isn't that really cool, you guys? I think she chose really wise on these jars. So I really want to make sure this is center. This is nice. It has a center line in the middle of the skull. I'm just going to have that go right across that A. There, I think. There we go. And it looks really good. So just flip the napkin over, or the tissue over. A little bit of Mod Podge. Also, when you do use the tissue paper like this that you print up with your own designs, you do have to use a little bit more Mod Podge as well. Even though it's tacky, it's on there a little heavier, and I keep a little more on my brush as well. I couldn't do this with the tissue. Again, I would tear the tissue if I did this like this. I wouldn't have that much decoupage on it. So you just have to know the surfaces and the texture or whatever you're working with, and know kind of what its limitations are. So I'm going to flip this over and flip that over, get a little bit more Mod Podge. That has a little bit of a chip in the paint, and that's okay because the picture is going to go right over it. Okay. And looky there, you guys. How cool is that? And I'm going to gently peel that plastic off of this side, and I'm going to put it over here. I can't lay my jar down because that other side is still wet. So I'm going to kind of hold it up here. Just rub some of these creases out. Make sure the edges are on here really tightly. If you notice, I don't really rub the center of the jar. Sometimes I might just rub my hand over it, but I really don't do anything with the center of the jet napkin. I really want to make sure that these edges are secure. Oops, that's going to peel some of that paint off. The edges are secure and the creases are out. So, if you notice, I had some glue on that rim there. And when I put the napkin in, it pulls some of that paint off, which is fine. When this dries, I'll touch all that up before I seal it. These jars, normally I give them 24 hours to the paint to dry, and I actually did the second coat this morning, so it's only had about 12 hours to dry, so that's why that happened. Not a big deal. We'll fix that up, and then I'm actually gonna let this dry. You have to let the Mod Podge dry for 24 hours, and then tomorrow I'll come back and I'll do a seal on these. And if you wonder what I seal my products with, I seal it with DuraClear by Deco Art. I get mine at Hobby Lobby, and I have found with all the jars that I've done and all the kind of different varnishes that I've tried, this is by far the best. It's the easiest to put on. It doesn't have an odor, so you can do it inside. I think I've been using this for about 3 years. Some of my jars are 3 years old, maybe 4 years old at this point. Still maintain their finish. They don't lose their color. They don't fade. So it's some good stuff. So I would recommend that you use that. So again, you guys, thank you so much. Remember, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And just to kind of recap what we did, we worked on some Halloween stuff. We did this quart-sized jar that has 2 sugar skulls in it. I think that's my favorite. That turned out really, really cool, you guys. How awesome is that one? I'll get these close at the camera so you can see them. And then we did a little bit of Nightmare Before Christmas. So we did this one. And then this one, which is probably a little more, I think that's the cover of the movie, where Jack is singing to his audience out there. And then this is kind of all the characters on there, which I think that turned out really, really cute. So again, I'm going to let these dry. 24 hours, I'll stick some seal on this, and then once that dries, I'll actually decorate this. I have some really cool ribbon that I use. I have some glitter ribbon, some black and orange glitter ribbons. That's probably what I use for these. But at the end of this video, by the time it's posted, there should be the finished products, so you can see exactly what they look like when they're done. So thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me.